Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a very special video. It's the most exciting video for me, and that is eyeshadow palettes. We are going to talk about my top 10 eyeshadow palettes from my collection. And man, I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes in my collection. So when I was going through my entire eyeshadow palettes, the things that I was like asking myself is there should be no repetitive shades. There should be like good quality eyeshadow palettes that if I miss on the other palettes, I should not like truly miss them. And I should be able to create like a plethora of looks which I should not be bored of. So that's all the things that I've kept in my mind. Some of the palettes are discontinued, but most of them are available. So I actually got down to correct 10 eyeshadow palettes. So if you're ready, let's begin. I'll tell you the reasoning why I chose all these things. The first palette, in no particular order, I chose my Flare Collection Remix palette from It's Belle Cosmetics. Of course, I had to choose this, even though I'm not like a green person, but you guys know how much I am in love with these special shades. And any shade, like you just pick one shade and tap it onto your eyes and it will create such great dimension on your eyes. It's just unbeatable to me, and I love all these shades. Like I just love all these shades, even though I'm not a green person. Both these are such beautiful shades. This is like my favorite shade in the palette. I use this all the time, which is like a pink to a golden flipping shade. This citrine shade, one and done eyeshadow look. It just looks wet, especially on the tan skin tone. Oh my god, it's amazing. This is more of a satin duochrome, like a pink to a purple duochrome. This, oh my god, the dimension is like outer space level. It's amazing. This is more of like the only green eyeshadow, I would say. This one is more of like a aquamarine green, but it flips to a blue. So it looks more like a teal shade, but blue in most of the angles, I would say. But in the camera, I know that you can see this all like a green shade. This is the only like true green shade, I would say. So this I definitely had to keep in my collection. I only picked out this palette. You guys know how much I love my It's Belle Break the Rules palette too. But out of the two, if I have to pick one, baby, I'll pick this. Okay, now let's talk about my neutral palette. I have a lot of neutral palettes. I am a neutral kind of girl, but when I went through all the neutral palettes, I basically love wearing my pinky browns. And man, this just ticks off all the boxes. And this is Chocolate Martini from Glam Light. I'm so glad that I picked this. I am so glad. Like this gives me so much dimension to the eye looks. You can definitely go more pinky, more peachy. You can go more mauvey. You can actually go like true brown by using this and this. You can go a little more on the orangey side, and all the shimmers are different. Pale goldeny shade, more of like a golden shade, more bronzy shade, more like a rose gold shade. There's an orange and a purple to a blue duochrome shade. There's like a deep chocolatey brown shade. This is such a beautiful quality palette. It's absolutely a must-have if you are a neutral lover. Especially if you're looking for a neutral palette, I mean, just don't go anywhere. Let's just get this. You will be amazed with the quality and the way it just blends everything on the eyes. It is stunning, like absolutely stunning. This actually was in my makeup starter kit that I filmed very recently. I don't know if you guys would see that video before this video or not, but this is definitely the one palette that I would definitely recommend to any makeup starter. So this definitely has to be in my top 10 eyeshadow palettes. The next eyeshadow palette that I wanted to pick up is more on like a pastel route, but wearable to me. In my sense, this is like the best spring palette that I own, and this is the Huda Beauty's Mercury Retrograde palette. I absolutely love this palette, like absolutely. Like all these are more of like a colorful pastel tones, but in such a wearable format, and the quality is outstanding. Like I just love each and every shade that has been picked for this palette. Like, of course, if you tell me spring in a palette, this is spring in a palette. I absolutely love the mauve tones. I love the purples. I love the burgundy tones and the neutral tones. And I love that they also like put in those mint and those like corally shades. I love this palette. Absolutely a must-have from Huda Beauty, I would say. And this palette has been like on sale for a long time. I don't know why. Obviously this continuing is what I feel like, because it's been on a sale for like $33. Generally all the Huda palettes are like around $67, I would say. So this is a must-have. If you've not tried this already, I mean, I would highly recommend this. Next is an eyeshadow palette that you cannot find because it's a discontinued palette, but I could not. Like, if I have to get 10 palettes from my collection, this definitely has to be one. And this is the ABH Sultry Palette. Now, I am not big on cool tones. If you guys know me, you know me. But this has definitely let me fall in love with cool tones. It's a cool tone palette, but it is not only grays. And for that reason, I just love it so much. And you can get some glam looks out of this. I could not skip on this. Like, I really could not skip on this. So I don't want to talk your ears out of this palette, but I would say this is like a good dupe to a Natasha Denona, like a glam palette. But this is definitely very close to my heart. So I would highly recommend this one. Okay, now let's talk about a colorful palette. I definitely need a colorful palette if I am keeping like only 10 eyeshadow palettes. So my colorful palette of the choice would be Glamlight's Makila palette. Now again, there are two Glamlight palettes in this video for a reason, because I love the quality. Now this color story truly speaks to me. Like, I love the neutral tones, I love the purpley tones, I love that she's put in like these 2 rows of colorful makeup, out of which this is okay, this is not okay to me, but I love that the option is there. So if I have to dabble into like getting outside my comfort zone, I still have the option for it. And I love the size of the palette. It's not like obnoxiously large, and it has like a good mirror too. I think this for a colorful palette, especially if you're more on neutrals and if you're dabbling into colors, I think you would absolutely love it, because the quality is absolutely outstanding. Now the next palette is another bigger palette. These are the only 2 big palettes that I'm going to talk about. You guys know I'm into my purples, and if you guys know me, you know which purple palette I need to keep in my collection, and that would be ABH Norvina 5 palette. Guys, I cannot get rid of this. No ways. You'll have to like get it out of my dead cold hands to get rid of this palette, because I absolutely love the quality of each and every shade in this palette. This is absolutely stunning. Like, if you are a purple lover, I would say this palette justifies no other palette. I mean, this is all that you need for any purple eye look. It can create so many variety of purple looks. You need to love purples to love this palette for sure. So only if you're a purple lover, I would highly recommend this. You can definitely go more neutral mauve tone. You can go more pastel-y, cool tone looks. You have like beautiful like a bluey purple look. There's more like pinky purple looks. There's so many things to play with it. And the texture, the quality, the mattes, everything is super blendable. And the quality of this palette is out of the world amazing. So I would highly recommend this. Okay, now let's talk about another palette which is very new to me, but I could not skip on this. Again, this is a palette which is full of special shadows, and this is from Sugar Drizzle, and this is their MILF palette. Now, if you're just dabbling into multichromes, duochromes, those special shades, and if you just need one palette, but you need it to cover a lot of spectrum, I would say if you are a person who loves your teals and greens and your purple tones, you absolutely need this. And this is the palette. I know there's a little bit of leaking here in my palette, and that's because there's a little bit more of like mixing medium here in the shades. That's why it doesn't bother me that much, because the formulas like are absolutely spectacular. This palette also has 2 black based multichromes, this Hop Along shade and this MILF shade. And this is spectacular. This Frog Life shade is the only shade that I have on my eyelids today. And I have deepened it out with another matte shade, and I'll show it to you in the coming palettes when I show you them. But this is absolutely spectacular. Like, this is definitely like a must-have for me. I love the tones. I absolutely love each and every tone of the shades that are selected for this palette. I mean, you will not be disappointed. If you are a multichrome, duochrome person, you absolutely need this. Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh my god, yes, you need this. Okay, let's move on to another palette. This is another neutral palette, but with like pop of shades, but right pop of shades, I would say. Again, this is a palette. I don't know if you guys can find it or not, because I cannot find it on her website, and this is Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette. I love this palette, you guys. I absolutely love it for my office look, for everyday looks. If I do not have to think of what eyeshadow look I need to create, I just grab this palette, because anything you dabble into, any shades, I mean, you're gonna get like amazing quality eyeshadows. And this is beautiful. I love that the top row is completely neutrals. You can like go into like any super neutral look, and these three shimmers can go take you to like different neutral direction, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love that she included these three pop of shades, more of a purple shade, an orange shade, and a teal shade, and these are some beautiful jewel tone with like a right amount of pigment. These are some blendable smooth eyeshadows. I absolutely love this palette from Dominique Cosmetics, and I definitely cannot see myself having 10 eyeshadow palettes and not having this. So I definitely wanted to keep this. Okay, now let's talk about another eyeshadow palette which is discontinued, and I'm really sorry about this, because I feel like this is amongst my top eyeshadow palettes which is truly unique in my collection, and I'm talking about Oden's Eye Cosmetics Giant Wolf's palette. Every shade in this palette is absolutely unique to me, and this is the shade that I'm wearing on my inner and the outer corners, and this is called Howling from the palette. Oh my god, this is truly such a beautiful palette. Like all the tones, the green tones, the pink tones, the raspberry tones, the blue tones, this multi-chrome, everything is super unique. I actually have this shade in my inner corner too, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, I cannot say anything else apart from amazingness for this palette, and I absolutely love Oden's Eye formula. Altogether, I have everything from Legendary Diversa collection, but this is truly unique to me. So if you guys have this, please take it out, because yeah, if you don't play with it, I'll be sad. I'll be really sad. And you don't want Smithy to be sad. Okay, the last eyeshadow palette that I have to have in my collection, and it can be like a mix of feelings what I feel about this palette, but no matter what my feelings are, the quality is absolutely top notch, and I am talking about Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette. Of course, when I see this palette, I think of Mel. But apart from that, you have a huge mirror. The shades that she chose for the palette is absolutely spectacular. This is another spring palette that like just calls out. Actually, this is like an all-around year palette, I would say, because when I see this palette, I can see spring, I can see fall, I can see winter. I really can see all the season in this palette. And these again are some unique shades in palette. I definitely do not have this kind of a green in any of my collection. I love that these like mossy greens are there. This palette totally reminds me of the new Anastasia palette. I've done like a dedicated video where I'm duping the ABH Novo palette with this palette, but this palette is truly unique. The shimmers, the matte, everything is like super blendable, super unique, super beautiful. They are some pigmented smooth shimmers. Now, a lot of people actually ask me in the comment section below, what do you recommend for like people who really like shimmers but not like sparkly dimensional shimmers? I would highly recommend Sydney Grace to you, because their shimmer formulas are so smooth but so impactful without being like shimmery in your face. So I would highly recommend Sydney Grace, especially if you are the person who really likes smooth shimmers. You will not be disappointed, and their mattes are out of this world. Like, I love this palette. That's how I end my 10 palettes. But talking about these 10 palettes, I would still have my single shadows in my collection. Now, if you guys want to see which are my top 10 single shadows from my collection, it's gonna be super hard, because I love my single shadows and I love how unique my collection is. So if you guys want to see what are my like top 10 single eyeshadow, definitely do let me know in the comment section below. I would happily film it for you guys. But yes, if you did like this video, you know what to do. Do give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.